For this video, I've got a couple of items that I want to review. Two different things, this Waterslide decal paper, and I'm also going to try out this printable iron-on transfer, and these are both from Hiipoo. And yeah, I want to try out both of these items. First, I want to start messing around with some of this decal paper. I want to do a mug, and I'm also going to do this start with this board, and you'll see later what I ended up doing with this. But first, just the mug. And after I've printed out the different designs, I want to use the Mama Needs Coffee. I know I'm going to put two of them, one on each side. But first I need to seal it with clear acrylic sealer, and this is a Plaid product. And I need to put like 3 coats on here of this. So I want to do that first. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and work on my iron-on. So I have it printed off. I used print and cut, and I think this, I was showing you that they sent, it's 10 sheets in a pack, and it does come with a press paper, but I've already used it twice, so I won't be using it. It's all wrinkled up, as you can see. I've made 2 different shirts, tried it out. First I did my logo, and I used print and cut on my Cricut for that one. And it turned out pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. And then I also I printed the whole thing, and then I just cut it out, just used it as a, you know, as a printed vinyl. But as you can see, there are some wrinkles in it, and it was because I had air bubbles with that transfer tape. And this one turned out pretty good. There were a couple little areas where it didn't cut very well. It, you know, because it's so intricate, and I don't know if you can really see there, it kind of messed up the end of the antlers on that. But otherwise it printed out okay. The color is pretty decent. It has bled a little bit, but I hadn't washed it yet, so I don't know. But we're gonna try another one, and so we'll go ahead and do that. But since I'm not going to use this transfer tape, it's all wrinkled now. It's not very thick, so I'm just going to take the, what do you call it, the protective layer from you know, the heat transfer vinyl, you know, the transfer tape part, I guess. So I'm just going to pull this. I'm not going to use this color. It came in a pack that I got. So I'm just going to pull that off. This sheet will not stick to the green mat. It will not stick to the blue mat. It only stuck to my purple mat that I have, the strong grip. So using, again, like I said, the print and cut feature, I just printed, it's a geometric design, and we're going to cut it out. The setting that I used was the iron-on, the printable iron-on for dark fabrics, because that's what this is supposed to be for. So that's the setting that I used to cut this out. Now, I can tell you, I didn't like that. I have tried a couple of different ones, a couple of different settings. I still have yet to find the setting that works right for me, for my machine. I even put a brand new blade in it. So I did have a couple of issues with it. Now, the smaller pieces don't cut as well, and you can see there's some like tearing, I guess, because it's such a soft product. Weeding it in some places, and it didn't cut right on the pattern in some places, so this was it took a little bit of effort on this. As you can see, when I was pulling it away there, it didn't want to come away from the design entirely, so it was a bit of a mess. But I ended up, you know, just being very careful with it and trimming separately places that needed trimmed. You can tell I have a few different a few different places where it didn't want to release or come away from the vinyl or whatever. I'm really bad at describing this stuff. It's a super cool design though, and I don't know, maybe if it was just less intricate, maybe it just doesn't like the maybe it just doesn't like the thin lines and stuff on something like this. So now I have it all weeded and trimmed and fixed up the way I want. I'm going to go ahead and take that other piece of the transfer tape from the other heat transfer vinyl and go ahead and apply that. And it comes off pretty easily. That wasn't a problem. Getting it to adhere, it was perfectly fine. So then the next part is just pressing it on. It does include what they call 2 sheets of grease-proof paper. It's basically just a piece of parchment paper. So I have already pressed some with parchment paper. And so I'm just, going over and using the parchment paper that they gave. As you can see, they're not big sheets, so if you're doing a bigger design or whatever, I mean, you're pretty much constricted to the size of the paper that they sent in the first place. Actually, I think they're a little smaller, but it seemed to work out okay. I had my iron all the way up, and I just pressed and set and pressed and set, and I have no idea how long I did this for, a minute or two. Moving it around just to make sure that it would work. Now, I did find that this was a relatively cool peel, I think it was. I can't recall for sure. No, it's a warm peel. Okay. So, yeah, it just lifted right off. And it looks pretty good. And I always like to go back over whatever I press on with the parchment paper straight over top of it. I read a tip somewhere that if you do that on heat transfer vinyl, that it like reduces the glossy of it, and I don't really like glossy vinyl on my shirts and stuff, so that was another reason why I did it. So now that these are adequately sprayed, I'm going to go ahead and cut them out and apply this. Now, it's kind of funny because I don't know if it's the paper, if it's, using the spray or what, but it curls up. It's so funny. It just curls up in the water, and you'll see, and it makes a funny noise too. So it's kind of funny that way. But I'm not like getting super deep into the trimming. It's clear. You don't really need to trim on the insides of the letters and everything else. You're not going to see it. I've done a couple other things that I didn't record just to try it out before I actually recorded this. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and clean it up real good. Make sure the surface is nice and clean with some rubbing alcohol. Okay, I'm cleaned up there. I have Mod Podge to the side because I may seal it in with that. I don't know yet. So it curls up. It's just so funny. I laugh at it every time. And so you just make sure that it's saturated really well. I can tell you this. I do have to redo one of these because I didn't have the spray. I didn't have enough of the spray, and one of them did bleed a bit. If you don't have a thick enough layer of that clear acrylic spray, you can get the water slide off. However, when you're applying it, it will bleed a bit. So you gotta let it sit for just a little bit. It doesn't take long at all. And, you know, once you can feel it start to slide, then you can, you know, like when you're layering vinyl, you can just like slowly pull out that paper from underneath. And it is a little bit crooked, but I don't care. It's fine. It's super cute. And I just, yeah, it's really cute. I just like it a lot. And I'm also going to put some on these candle holders. I think I showed off in a haul a while back. They had little stands or whatever. And yeah, I just went ahead and painted them white and wanted to put these on here. They're sunflowers, I mean, come on, and skulls and bones, and I thought that was super cute too. So, and my daughter has since claimed them. They're hers now, so she really liked them. But again, these, it worked out so well. There was a little wrinkling, you know, it's not a flat surface. It's very thin. So it did wrinkle a little bit, but nothing significant. These didn't bleed much. Actually, I don't think these ones bled at all. I must have got enough acrylic on them, but there they are. And that board. Now I am going to fill the holes, and I have taken off all of the glitter and crap. So I'm just going to paint the whole thing with Waverly White, and I'm going to turn this into a tray. So what I'm going to do is get some of these tumbling tower blocks. This set I picked up at Family Dollar. They are $5 for $5.50, something like that. But you know, it's a nice big set. So once I figure out what I need here, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to glue the two long ends. So I'm going to glue all the pieces together for the long ends, and then I'll have to cut the pieces for the centers or the edges. Those three on the edges. Today is not a talking day for me. So I've got to measure out where I'm going to need to cut. But I'm not going to do that just yet. So I'll go ahead and get them laid out, get them marked, and then I'm going to use Gorilla Wood glue to put the two long rows together. And now that I've got those all adhered, I'm going to go ahead and sand where, you know, there might be glue overlap, just to get it nice and smooth. Yeah, like I said, going ahead and sanding them down, just to fix that a little bit. Now I'm using my scroll saw, and this is where I'm taking off the ends just to make sure they're, you know, going to be the right length. And I have everything marked, so go ahead and cut. Real easy. You know, it's handy to have this little saw on my table for reasons like this. I can just, you know, chop real quick through, you know, these blocks just to, you know, make sure everything is gonna fit. Will I use it for like artsy things? Probably not. It's functional, you know. And maybe I'll dive into like trying to do some like words or basic shapes, but you know, that's not my jam. But anyway, so now I've got everything cut. I'll need to stain these, cut these. So I'm going to use the Folk Art Home Decor Wax and Antique for the wood pieces, and the Waverly Chalk Paint and White for the base of the tray. And I will just glue everything on with the Gorilla Wood glue, put the whole frame together. I'll also use hot glue for instant adhering. So again, now I've got all of my wood bases assembled. Now I just need to put it all together. Now, as you can see, they're painted, they're stained, and that's the image that I'm going to use in the center. And you will see by the end of this, I didn't have it sprayed quite as well as I'd hoped, but it's fine, you know. It'll work out okay. So I'm going to coat with a layer of the Mod Podge Dishwasher Safe, and then go from there. So that's done. and want to go ahead and get that soaking. I don't have a really big pan, so I'm gonna have to get something else. There we go. So this is bigger. It worked. It worked. What are you gonna do? I didn't have a cake pan handy to use for this, but so it was pretty ambitious to try a large decal, Waterslide decal. I did a smaller scale thing. I'll have to show off later on my Instagram or something, but this was, you know, an undertaking. But you know, I learned a lot in this process. Make sure that it's sprayed with that acrylic spray very well, and make sure you've gotten the whole thing, you know, your whole image. I don't know if you can tell, but there is a green tint in the water, and you can kind of see where it is right there by my my left thumb there, how it's kind of discolored. So here I am just kind of fuddling with it. I realized in this process that using a big piece, you need to soak it a little longer, make sure it's sprayed really well. But otherwise, you know, I think it turns out pretty cute. So same process as before. It's nice and wet. Now it slides right off. And I did have wrinkly problems with it. Again, it's a large piece and I didn't have it sprayed quite as well as I should have. There were, you know, I had bubbling, I have wrinkles, which after it dries, you know, it kind of cracks apart a little bit. Honestly, were I trying for something solid, and for any other design I might have cared, but for this design it actually kind of works out okay for it to look a little worn and used and distressed. So even though that's not my usual jam, it made sense for this, I guess. So now it's just letting it dry, getting all the bubbles out, and then putting it together. So it's all dried, it's coated, and I'm going to put a couple of little leather strips on the ends for handles. I have, my mom gave me a whole bunch of leather, so, and I'm just going to use hot glue for this. I'm not, it's a decor piece. It's not going to be, yeah. But I did go ahead and stain the back. And it, I really like the effect of it actually. But yeah, so if you can tell there up by the, oh, my focus, there we go. If you can tell up there by the gnome's nose, the one in the center, you can see the wrinkle, but it works out okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these handles on. And there's the tray. I have that done with the handles. And there's the mug and the candle holders. They turned out pretty good, I think. I just got some battery operated tea lights in there. There's the shirt. Didn't turn out too bad. A couple little spots, but otherwise it worked out okay. Yeah. I really like the Waterslide. They turned out pretty good. I'm not so certain about this iron-on transfer, but I don't know. We'll give it a shot again. And that's what those tea lights look like in there. Super cute. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and spread the YouTubey goodness. Take care. Bye.